I'm getting on a plane in 12 hours, and I haven't started packing yet because instead I've just been sitting around thinking about Birdkids.
Okay, well, like 5 minutes ago, you were just telling me how you weren't thinking about Birdkids either or packing because you couldn't make yourself do any of it. So
Yeah,
I'm just going to call you out here right now.
That's because I thought of this thing I could say for this extremely natural and not at all pre-produced cold open before I got a manic burst of energy to pack my bag for my flight 2 minutes before we were scheduled to start recording.
Right, so like 10 minutes ago, you hadn't thought about Birdkids or packed, and then now that we're recording, you did both.
Yes.
Yeah. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Midlight Crisis, a real podcast hosted by three grown-up biologists revisiting books from our teens, and it's totally cool. I am one of your hosts, Sophie, and today, for the last time, I have been genetically recombined with a bird that has a superpower, but it's only 2%. Side note, for this, I was listening to a bunch of episodes from before I had nailed that description. And I was like, it took me like 25 episodes to figure out how to say that concisely.
Yeah, we divided up, spoiler, or I guess look into the inner workings. We divided up the episodes chronologically, and you had not figured it out by the time I had listened to my complete complement.
I had barely figured it out by the time I had reached the end. Like, literally the last episode I listened to was the one where I figured it out. Anyway, good at podcasting. But yes, I'm Sophie, and I've been genetically recombined with a bird that has a superpower. And that bird is... Sorry, I just remembered what it was. That bird is a corporate dirt bird.
Oh. Bird. Ooh, I like that one.
That's me, just a corporate dirt bird.
You corporate dirt bird.
I'm just imagining the most regular ass bird, like basically just a little brown sparrow. I'm calling out brown sparrows, like just little regular birds, but I'm wearing like a suit and carrying a briefcase. Corporate dirt bird.
Corporate dirt bird. And you like kind of suck?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
I guess like a dirt bird would be like a quail.
I mean, it sounds like an insult.
It does sound like
the whole thing sounds like an insult.
It would be like, I feel like there is some chance that it would be like a dirt bird would be a real thing. And then people would just call each other that. But then it's like, no, it's this little like adorable little ground bird.
Yeah, it's probably super cute.
Like a burrowing owl is probably a dirt bird.
I just Googled it. Apparently it is Irish slang for a filthy or promiscuous woman.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Dang it.
So that sucks.
That sucks.
That sucks.
Well, I wish I didn't know that.
Sorry, but I had to let you know.
Well, I'm only 2%, so it's fine.
Yeah.
And my superpower is corporate, which I don't really want to think about in that context anymore. But...
Ew. No.
What?
Oh.
Sex work is work.
All I was thinking was, I think a true corporate culture would kill Sophie. So
yeah. It might kill me.
I think it might have killed Sam already.
Yeah. If I was doing business, I don't know that I would live that long.
I'm dead inside.
There's nothing that remains except for the 2% dirt bird. Anyway, who are you guys, and also what are you?
Well, corporate America,
or
Canada. Corporate Canada killed me so much that I'm 2% genetically combined with a caffeinated peanut butter puffin.
Wow!
That's so
fun.
Newfoundlandy.
Oh
yeah, the caffeine is from the corporate, in case you were wondering.
Yeah. I was assuming it wasn't the puffin, but
I mean, who knows?
The peanut butter, maybe.
I mean, they're like chubby little guys who dress fancy.
Yeah.
I feel like chubby folks who dress fancy are pretty easy to find in offices, which I can say because I am one, in case anyone was about to get mad.
I was also that at one point. I don't super dress up anymore, but at my last corporate job, I did. And I stuck out like a sore thumb a few days.
Nice.
Too fancy.
Yeah.
I feel like a peanut butter puffin is just like a regular puffin, but it's just like brown instead of black, right?
Is it a puffling?
Oh, a puffling.
Pufflings are brown, aren't they?
Oh, are they? That would make sense.
Like baby puffins? I thought.
Yeah, I don't know that I've thought about a baby puffin or looked at one recently. Are they brown?
They're like grayish brown. Grayish, you know?
Grayish.
Yeah.
You know how puffins have those like mildly horrifying tongues used for grabbing capelin?
Yeah.
I was imagining a peanut butter puffin being a regular puffin who has been given peanut butter and is like doing the thing that dogs do when you give them peanut butter, where it's just like,
oh,
but with its like crazy little fish tongue.
Yeah. I was imagining just a regular puffin just like had gotten into a container of peanut butter and it was just like having a great time.
Just having a great time. I feel like puffins would like peanut butter.
Yeah, probably.
There's no scientific basis for that, but it seems like things that go together.
They eat salty fish and peanut butter is salty. So
there you go.
There you go.
Salty protein.
Yeah. Basically the same.
Basically the same.
Who are you, the last one?
I the last one and fuck me.
Yeah. It's okay. You haven't introduced yourself that too many times. We haven't done too many episodes of this podcast yet, so
we published our 100th episode recently. Congratulations to us. I still can't speak into a microphone.
I forgot.
Wow.
Go ahead.
I am Hannah, and the 2% of my body that didn't just flee into hell when I failed to speak properly.
Mm-hmm.
I've been 2% genetically recombined.
I'm gonna leave all of this in. All of it.
Shit. I've been genetically recombined with an omniscient coffee toucan. Oh my god.
What? Wait, what was the first word?
Yeah, can you say it again?
Red leather, yellow leather.
Yeah.
Omniscient coffee toucan.
Wow.
Omniscient? I didn't even know that was in there.
Toffee Kukan.
I know everything. Toffee Kutan.
Yeah. Wow, you and Sam must be friends. Being caffeinated and coffee.
Yeah, and we both are just funny little guys with giant colorful beaks.
Yeah, that's fun.
We're buddies.
But you're omniscient, which is concerning.
You don't want a coffee toucan knowing all of your business?
I mean, I guess if anyone was gonna know it, I would prefer that it was just a toucan.
Right?
I guess.
Are they mimics? Could they just like say all of your thoughts? Or are they just regular?
They're regular.
Okay, that's good.
The two types of creature, mimic or regular. They're regular.
Yeah. Applicable to both birds and Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
The Venn diagram.
Exactly.
That's
fun. I'm imagining there's a coffee toucan out there just staring into the middle distance because it's omniscient.
Yeah.
It knows everything.
Poor thing.
God is among us and he's a coffee toucan.
He's a coffee toucan.
Yeah. Well, the reason we have been genetically recombined with birds that have superpowers, of course, is because up until now, we have been reading Maximum Ride, the Angel Experiment, which has the Birdkids in it who have superpowers. Uh-huh. But we have finished reading that book, and now is the much anticipated
by us at least
biology wrap up. Yeah.
Woo.
We are here to summarize everything we have definitively determined to be Birdkid biology and associated science experiments. Yeah, so since this is different from our normal setup, I'm just going to list off the categories that we are going to address, and then we're just going to get right into it, you know? So, the general categories we're going to cover are this list that I have abruptly lost. Oh, yeah. They are eyes, ears, nose, mouth / digestive, respiration, circulation, wings, arms, legs, body. And then the more grandiose categories of genetics, behavior, superpowers, and finally, erasers.
Erasers.
Yeah. And then there's probably going to be a miscellaneous category in there with stuff that didn't really fit into the rest.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so let's just supersonic dive right into it. Like
no.
a Birdkid.
Dive like a birdkid descending from the sky.
Exactly like that.
Uh-huh.
But not like that, because we're going to talk about, I guess, eyes first. So, did anybody have anything about Birdkid eyes to share with the class?
I have a couple I can get us started.
Yeah, because I don't have any, so you go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Peeling back the mechanics, we divided up our episodes to re-listen to and jot down our biology notes into like 3 chunks by Hannah, Sophie, Sam. So I have things earlier in the book, like when they were flying to the school back in California and Max could see things from really far away.
Ooh.
She is able to see fine details with, quote, a little bit of difficulty from flying, quote, high, which does not really give us a lot to work with.
Right.
We concluded they probably have somewhere between human and raptor vision, based on the fact that, like, eagles can see up to 1.6 kilometers away. Max didn't seem to be able to see in detail necessarily from that far. And also, as you may recall from our Twilight episodes, in order to be able to actually have, like, eagle eyes, they would need to have giant eyeballs that take up at least 40% of their entire head.
Wow.
Which we don't think they do.
Well...
Oh!
Oh.
No, we changed our mind in episode 86 because we said that
Ooh.
their eyeballs would have to have been a third the size of their head, just like the vampires.
Yeah. Surely that's not the case.
Well, I don't know, but we also said that they would have to waggle their heads for better depth perception. And we talked about how fast can a bird see in those exact words.
Yeah.
I forgot
Where birds can only see things that are moving faster, and then they're clearer the faster that... Whoa, that sentence made no sense. Anyways, basically, they can see things moving faster, clearer than we can. And so if a bird can go fast, then it can see fast, is essentially what we came to. So
We're so smart.
We're so smart.
Even though it probably doesn't make sense because they wouldn't look very human, we did kind of come to the conclusion that their eyes would have to be a third the size of their head to work the way that they did. Or do. Or,
Amazing.
Words.
Awful.
Imagine how disconcerting it would be to, like, see someone who looks human and then their eyeballs don't move.
Yeah.
Like, their eyeballs are just staring straight ahead at all times. And they just have to turn their head to...
There's actually a relatively high up figure in, like, the Formula One world who lost an eye racing, like, 100 years ago because he's ancient.
Yeah.
He has, like, an
eye.
old glass eye, and it, as far as I can recall, it doesn't move with his other eye.
Yes.
Very well. So it would be like that, but really big.
Well, yeah, and I feel like both of them feels worse than just one, you know?
Yeah. It's like the, what was it, Alita Battle Angel CGI thing? Where she just had eyes that were slightly too big. Did I make that up?
No, I think you're right. They CGI'd her eyes way too big.
Yeah.
And
like
it was
that.
Disconcerting. Yeah.
It was
great.
Disconcerting.
Well, I love that. I love that we just keep creating more and more human animals. Well, human creatures, human looking monsters. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean vampires and birdkids. I'm glad we just keep making them have 1/3 of their heads be eyeball.
I would push back against that because I don't think it's us doing it. I think we're just getting dealt these extremely odd hands to play.
Yeah, you're right. I love it.
In addition to gigantic, weird-ass eyeballs, they seem to have the night vision capabilities of humans rather than birds because they can see okay at night, and I think most birds can't see very well at night unless they're, like, specifically nocturnal.
Yeah.
And also, Sophie, you were really enamored with the idea that these bird kids can see the Earth's magnetic field.
Oh, yeah.
Which is supported in the text by the fact that Max claims that they all have an innate sense of direction. it is not necessarily supported by the fact that Iggy seems to be able to navigate equally well when he can't see at all.
Right.
And Max does figure out the direction at one point using the sun, which kind of falls under the same idea of like how they navigate with their eyeballs.
I believe it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did we figure out later that it wasn't that they were seeing the magnetic fields?
Yeah, well, later we figured out that Max finds the direction using the sun.
Oh, okay.
And you brought up something about magnetite, but I've put that in the mouth category because in birds...
Oh, yeah.
It's related to their beak.
Okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, we'll get to that then, I guess. In the mouth category.
In the mouth category, stay tuned.
Yeah, that's a good eyeballs section, I think.
Also, one of the characters is blind because the school tried to enhance his night vision, but ruined all of his vision instead.
Yeah, cool.
So
amazing summary. Well, let's move on to another category relevant to that Birdkid, which is ears.
Yeah, that Birdkid can hear so good. That's all I got.
Yeah, the only thing I had for hearing is that Iggy can hear ATM buttons.
Oh, yeah.
Which is kind of crazy.
He can hear the difference between the ATM buttons even, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like he listened to someone putting in the ATM code and could replicate it, which is kind of wild.
Crazy.
Yeah.
You heard the ATM machine PIN number?
Yeah, the ATM machine PIN number. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't think we had added anything, I just wanted to say that, like, his hearing could be a bird modification. Like, I think I was waiting to say anything until it maybe came out more, which is why we don't have a lot. But again, maybe if Iggy was being, like, maybe they were trying to mix him with an owl for better night vision, you know? And then they ended up messing up his eyeballs. Maybe that's where he got his good hearing, because owls, like, notably have extremely good hearing.
So we do talk about that in episode 83, but it was in relation to his vision. Oh, wait, actually, now my note makes sense. Sorry, I took bad notes.
Okay.
I said Iggy's vision in relation to owls is my note. Oops. Yeah. So we did talk about it.
Really? I didn't talk about owls?
No, we did. It's there.
Okay.
Sam is just bad.
Wow. No, I just came up with the same idea twice, and I thought it was new the second time.
I feel like we do that a lot in these episodes. We always expose ourselves.
Yeah, thankfully, I was just about to say, thankfully, no one listens to all the rest of them for the wrap-up episode. But I was like, I think other people do listen to all of them.
I think other people, like, surely some people listen to our podcast. If you listen to this podcast, let us know.
In my head for like 1 second, I was like, no, all the other episodes are just for us. And then we release one episode about biology.
Yeah,
Nobody else hears the rest of it.
That would be a wild format. We release one episode every 2 years.
And it's just about incomprehensible biology. Sorry, okay.
That's our next podcast concept.
Yeah.
Original idea, do not steal.
After we start audiobooks but bad, which I was waiting for a chance to bring up again because it was in the episodes I listened to.
We'll still want to do audiobooks.
We'll do 3 episodes once every 2 years, just biology.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're gonna keep talking about biology now. Okay, that's probably it for ears, right? Hearing, ears. Great. Then let's move on to the next category. I keep having to scroll up away from the categories to look at my notes and then scroll all the way back down to the categories, which is working really well. Do we have anything for noses? Like smell, sense of smell?
I don't.
Not smell, but
noses?
There's a nose thing in the water breathing section.
Oh, right.
Oh. So I think we can probably conclude then that other than Iggy's elevated hearing, they seem to hear and smell as you would expect a human to.
Yeah.
Does that seem correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Eyes, better than human. Hearing, maybe on par, or this is a little cross-category, but they might hear worse than humans. But we'll get into that
Oh.
When we get to the circulatory system.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So, but I think they might hear worse than humans, and Iggy hears incredible.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay, so next category then is like the mouth / their digestive system. I have very little, so I'll go first.
I have something.
Yeah, I bet you do.
Yeah.
I'm going to start with my extremely short one, which is amongst our lasagna breakfast crime episode. We discuss if popcorn is good for breakfast for Birdkids.
I'm still mad about the fact that you guys think popcorn is a more acceptable breakfast than lasagna.
It is. Everyone agrees.
It is.
I will never let this go.
It's way better for breakfast. But in terms of Birdkids specifically, popcorn is actually full of phenolic acid, which is an antioxidant, and migratory birds specifically seek out antioxidants during migration. So they are eating popcorn when they are about to fly, or while they are in the process of flying from California to New York. Yeah. They went from California to New York. And so popcorn is actually a great breakfast for that reason, for them.
Wow.
Specifically, before their migration to New York. New York? Anyway, that's honestly all I have for digestion. So, oh wait, I have, brief other one. Is that they were drinking hot chocolate, which would kill a bird. So therefore, their guts are wholly human.
Yeah. We did have some discussion earlier in the book about whether they could eat raw meat because we think they're combined with raptors.
Oh, yeah.
But also, like, on the breakfast point, Max at one point says that their usual breakfasts are things like burned hot dogs, dry cereals, handfuls of peanut butter, what the fuck,
yeah,
and beanie weenies straight from a can. And then Max has, like, waffles and eggs with Dr. Martinez, and also Iggy cooks breakfast in one of the early chapters. So they have all sorts of criminal breakfasts.
Beans are, like, a very normal breakfast.
Are beanie weenies beans?
I don't know what beanie weenies are.
I think it's... No, I think it's like beans and hot dogs.
It's like, hot dogs and baked beans.
Yeah.
Which, like,
normal
nutritionally
breakfast.
speaking, other than the fact that it's probably very, like, sodium heavy, it's probably actually a very good breakfast because you would get, like, lots of fiber and protein from that.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
Yuck.
I wasn't going to include this because there wasn't, like, a lot there, but we did say at some point Nudge was a bean-based bird kid.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, because she
needs to eat protein, but she's vegetarian. So,
to be fair, she's only vegetarian for a couple days. Like, she goes vegetarian after meeting the hawks, the ferruginous hawks.
Yeah.
For anyone who forgets, the, like, actual real-life hawks.
Yeah.
And sees them eating raw meat. She decides she's not going to eat meat anymore, and then when they go to New York City, she eats at a deli, and she's not vegetarian through the rest of the books. So...
Wait, she's actually not vegetarian through the rest of the books?
No.
Oh, really?
They just forgot that plot point, yeah.
Because I thought at the deli she wasn't eating meat. Like, she still gets non-meat food at the deli.
But for some reason, the deli is her favorite.
Yeah. Like, I don't think she said... I didn't listen to that episode, but I don't think she said what she eats at the deli.
I thought they specified that she was getting... I don't know. I didn't listen to the episode, but I thought they specified, like, that she got, like, a bean burrito instead of, like, a meat one.
I think that's what we decided she was getting.
Well, they do go to McDonald's, and she gets cheeseburgers without the burger. So, like, that happens...
Yeah, I think, like, when I was looking up for a previous episode, looking up, like, what happens next on the wiki pages, they do note that, like, it's just kind of forgotten that Nudge becomes a vegetarian.
Wow.
Which, honestly, is probably for the best for her. We, and particularly Sam, were very concerned about Nudge's caloric intake, eating only vegetables. Because there was one point where Fang stole some kebabs from some hikers for their lunch, and Nudge's was just, I think, like onions and peppers or something like that. And we also talked about the caloric needs of Birdkids, because while Angel is in captivity, we canonically know that at 6 years old she needs to eat about 3,000 calories per day, which is about twice as much as like a regular human child of that age would need to eat.
Right.
So yeah, we were concerned that Nudge wouldn't be getting enough calories just from vegetables and like buns with cheese on them.
Yeah, because again, I didn't know what category to put this in, but we in one of the next episodes after the one where I guess we were concerned about Nudge's calorie intake, we were talking about the boys' calorie intake. And
I remember this.
They order about 4,000 calories, and like a growing teen needs about 2,800 calories. So this is not like wildly off base how much they're ordering from McDonald's.
Yeah, that's also one meal though.
Yeah.
But we did talk very briefly in one of my episodes about how birds have a crop where they can store food for later.
Oh, yeah.
And we were talking about this and we phrased it as Fang having a goiter full of ravioli.
Yeah.
Just, saving a snack for later.
Yeah.
I don't think the Birdkids have a crop. I think it was a funny idea. I don't think they actually have that.
Yeah, there is like one. We do make several jokes about Fang having coughed up food from his crop, but I don't think that's true.
I don't think it's true.
I don't think it's
just
true.
Funny.
He has a backpack and that's it.
Yeah. They also did the thing where they cinch their windbreakers around their waists and turn themselves into giant flying pockets, which I thought was very funny.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Sam? What are your digestive bullet points?
We were concerned about where they were going to the bathroom, and then Sophie highlighted to us.
Or was it just me?
I mean, collective.
Some of us were worried.
Some of us more than others.
Then Sophie reminded us that birds do not have physical control of when they defecate. And therefore, when they're in Central Park, and I guess just everywhere, they could just be letting it go wherever.
Pooping
not very hygienic.
Well,
yeah.
There's probably a lot of poop in Central Park.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Some of it's Birdkid poop.
Yeah, but if they can't control it, they're just doing it like with their clothes on.
Yeah.
Maybe they wear diapers and they just didn't mention it because Max thinks it's embarrassing.
Or she doesn't think it's weird at all.
Could be either.
Maybe since the rest of their digestive system is human, we sort of have to agree that their pooping is human.
I think that's probably realistic.
Fine.
Flame.
Fine.
Yeah, fine.
I guess. All right, is that it for digestion? Great.
Yes, I do have a mouth thing though.
Okay, do a mouth
digestion. Don't say that.
You started it.
Okay, fine. I'll do a mouth thing. Related to the previous point about how they navigate. If they can't see the Earth's magnetic field, they might be able to feel the Earth's magnetic field, because Sophie pointed out that some or all, I can't remember, birds have a magnetite receptor in their beak that like allows them to feel the Earth's magnetic field and navigate using that feeling. And since a beak is structurally serving the same function as lips, maybe that's where the Birdkids have it. I also posited that they might have magnetite in their teeth because that's a hard structure. I don't know if it's better to be like pulled by the kissy face in the direction of travel or like have your teeth very gently trying to escape your mouth in one direction or another.
Yeah.
But we did posit that they might have magnetite in their mouth somewhere. So
since beaks are made of like some sort of keratin, maybe it's their mustache hairs.
Oh yeah, you did also say eyebrows. But
eyebrows. Wow.
I didn't write that down.
How dare you?
Contradicting yourself. You don't think they have hair.
You're right.
That's true.
Well, feathers are also made of keratin, so wait until the body section. I'm making my pitch again.
Uh-huh.
All right. If that's it for mouth stuff.
I mean, I just want to say that they have to eat a lot of food because flying is energetically expensive.
Okay,
and they need to feel that activity.
For sure. Yeah, all right. We get it. It's energetically costly.
Sure, you did that in the episodes that I listened to.
I did
also.
that again.
Stop reusing your jokes on me.
I won't. The next thing we're going to talk about is the wings. Wow.
The wings.
The big one. There's two of them on each Birdkid.
Yeah.
It's the thing about it. Again, I feel like my episodes, we had talked about a lot of stuff already, and so we were just like reconvening on some things. The only thing about wings that I have that we all just like vehemently were like, no, no, is that Max says they have retractable wings.
Yeah, I had a bit of that too in the early ones.
Like literally my notes are retractable wings as one bullet point, and then like, you know, the second kind of bullet point that's underneath a bullet point of the bullet point. I just wrote, huh? Because that's what we all said. We were just like, huh? Huh? And then we didn't discuss it further.
Yeah.
We decided it just means they can fold up their wings tightly against their backs.
Yeah, we did discuss that in my chapters, which is probably why we didn't discuss it again later. That the wings are able to fold into a divot in their backs alongside their spine from their shoulders to their waist.
Great.
We had several ideas about how the wings can like fold down that small. Sophie, you were saying that like the bones could probably fit in that distance if you folded at the joints. I started talking about beetles, which like literally fold their wings with like some kind of hydrostatic skeleton. We didn't know where the feathers go, even if we could figure out how like the bones fit into like a little indentation beside the spine. We still don't really know how the feathers fit into that. But the birdkids are hella muscly. So Sophie, you posited that because all of the flight muscles in a bird are like attached at the chest, and therefore there might be a similar kind of configuration for the birdkids because they're like kind of unbalanced compared to what we would think of typical human anatomy. Their muscles might just be formed that like most of the muscle is on the side and in the front. So there's like space in the back. And then Sam like pointed out some kind of epigenetic adaptive thing where like if they're like always holding their wings in tight enough to that part of their body might start to sort of like adjust to accommodate that. So
wow, we're smart.
Yeah, we had some good ideas.
Yeah, that sounds right to me.
Yeah, like it doesn't make a lot of sense, but that's not our fault, you know?
Well, yeah. I mean, it does. I mean, yeah, birds, all their muscles attached to the front of their body. It's to the keel, like the up muscles on the back of their quote unquote arms, you know, their wings. And the equivalent of like what would be attaching to our scapula and what attaches to our, you know, chest muscles. All of those kind of swing around the front through like a gap in the arm bones in birds. So all of those strong muscles attached to the front. So yeah, that makes sense. And then the wings like make it look like they are equally buff on the front and the back.
Yeah, I think that was the idea.
Neat.
Because I had the early chapters, I had a lot of stuff about like their wings and the way that they fly.
Yeah.
So should I just get into it?
Just go for it. Yeah.
All right. I mean, the main general ones is that like we have wingspan lengths for Max, Nudge, and Fang.
Okay.
So Max has a 13-foot horizontal wingspan, Nudge's is 10 feet, and Fang has 12-foot wings. Max's are tan with freckly brown spots. We never specifically decided what kind of bird she might be to get that coloration. We did decide that Nudge is probably a ferruginous hawk based on her, quote, tawny russet wings and the fact that they're described as looking very similar to the ferruginous hawks that we see early in the book. We also made a joke at one point that she might be 1% Shrike because she impales an eraser on a cactus. And then Fang's wings are dark, and we decided that he's a vulture because he's kind of edgy and has big black wings.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, what with the information we have that you provided from later books, I mean, I think we're going to kind of guess that Max is a peregrine falcon. And they don't have, like, they have freckly underside of wings, but gray on top.
Oh.
But they have, like, tan with spots on the underside. So,
okay.
Maybe that's what she is.
Also, we later hypothesized that Fang is actually a woodpecker because there's a black one from the Europe-Russia area, and he scrambles down a tree so fast, which is characteristic of a woodpecker. Never forget.
Yes. Never forget.
Never remember.
Never remember, never forget. He's got the forward and backward facing toes of a woodpecker.
Oh,
wow.
I do have
we'll talk about that
we need to talk about their feet. Yeah. We don't know what Gasman or Iggy's wings look like, and Angel's are white, but we didn't talk about that at all.
I think because this is our definitive biology episode, we should take a guess on what those last three Birdkid birds are, and I have some pitches.
Okay.
So because they're never described in the books, Gasman and Iggy's wings are only described in the material in Fang's blog.
Oh, God.
Ew.
So, yeah, we have to figure out Angel, Gasman, and Iggy.
Okay.
And Angel, of course, has pure white wings.
Wow.
Gazzy actually has tawny wings. And Iggy has, like, just gray wings.
Oh, yeah. So I've opened up the wiki to try to get us some help. It does say in School's Out Forever, Angel compares him to a big white bird. Iggy, I mean.
But that's because he's vanilla.
Yeah, it's
not because he has light gray wings, though.
Okay. Yeah, she says he's like an albatross or something.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I was going to pitch like a great gray owl or something because of the hearing and attempted night vision. But, you know, maybe he's an albatross.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me Google an albatross.
No, but if he's an albatross, then every time he has to go in for a landing, he like hits the ground and flips over a bunch of times.
Falls over.
Because that's literally how albatrosses land.
They're not very elegant on land.
No.
I wonder, like, Iggy is like ginger. He has red hair, pale skin, a bunch of freckles, and some distinctive birthmarks, apparently. So I wonder if there's like something like an albatross, or I guess maybe a large owl that has like speckles. I'm reaching. That's probably the human part.
Yeah, because none of the others, like if it was their human parts, then, you know, Angel and Gasman should have the same bird, you know?
That's true.
I'm just gonna pitch that he's a great gray owl because of the hearing.
Okay.
And the
what
gray.
about like a barn owl for like the colors?
Aren't they like brown?
They're like brown and white, but they're like kind of that reddish brown.
Right.
I guess the wings are brown.
Yeah, his wings are light gray.
Light gray. Okay. I'll go with it.
Yeah.
Owl.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we're assuming that this is like a military application and they're specifically trying to design this Birdkid to see in the dark, and then they would have wanted an owl. And then if he didn't get like the owl vision, that would explain why they specifically experimented on him to try to improve his night vision.
Yeah. Because the only other like solid gray, like great gray owls aren't solid gray either, but their wings like are light gray but speckly. Maybe that's where his freckles come from. But the only like solid light gray hawks are a snail kite.
Aww.
Or like some other kinds of kites. But
there's also a lot of gulls that have gray coloration, particularly as juveniles. He could be a gull.
That's true.
Possibly, quote, an albatross or something from the books, possibly some kind of owl based on his navigation skills.
Specifically because Max says, even when they allude to other birds, Max has said they are all mixed with raptors. So, like...
Okay, did she say that? Or did we just decide that?
Like, she said something like, because of the raptor thing, we all had excellent vision, or something like that.
Ah, I forgot.
So, I think they're all mixed with raptors. But anyway.
Okay.
Tawny is just so non-specific. Angel, all white. Maybe she's just leucistic or albino.
Yeah, it says in the wiki that it's suspected that her avian DNA came from a dove, petrel, or swan.
What the
heck? It does not give a source for why that is. So it is suspected, implied by the fandom because she is white. Her feathers are white.
Oh.
That her DNA is from a dove, petrel, or swan.
Yeah.
But what birds can read minds?
All
toucans, apparently.
All of them, yeah.
Yeah. Are there like haptors, hawks, or raptors that have like pale morphs? Don't the ferruginous hawks have like a pale morph?
Yeah. They're not like white. Like really, you gotta be like leucistic. What's the... Oh, it's a gerfalcon, I think, is the one that's like close to all white.
Or like a white-tailed kite.
Yeah.
They have white tails.
Yeah, so she might be a white-tailed kite or a gerfalcon. Gerfalcon?
I have no idea.
G-Y-R. Falcon.
Gerfalcon.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I guess she's also a child, so if there's one that has like white babies, it could be any of those.
Oh yeah, most of them have fluffy white. That's, you know what? That's a great point. A lot of like eyases, which are what you call a baby raptor, are like fluffy and white. So
she could might just be a baby.
But they usually can't fly with those wings. But anyway.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And Gasman is tawny, which is like a lot of birds because it's like light brown to like orangey. There is a tawny owl, so maybe he's a tawny owl.
Okay. Yeah, in School's Out Forever, Angel says that the Gasman has the DNA of, quote, a sturdy bird like an owl.
Hey!
So, could be that.
I'm going to go with tawny owl.
Yeah, I feel like that's a good guess.
Wow. What a good guess. That's why he and Iggy get along so well, because they're both
owls.
Yeah.
See, it's all coming together.
Great.
Sort of.
What a good guess.
So we have a peregrine falcon, a ferruginous hawk, a vulture, 2 owls, and unspecified baby raptor, possibly a gyrfalcon. Gyrfalcon?
Who knows?
Gyrfalcon. Maybe it's like the sandwiches. Maybe she's a hero falcon.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And a tawny owl. You forgot.
And a tawny owl. Yeah, 2 owls.
Yeah.
Tawny and gray.
Wow.
Okay.
What a good time.
Yeah.
I stand by it.
Yeah, I'm happy with those answers.
Great. Okay, let's move on to the other wing stuff. What's next in wings?
I have so much wing stuff.
Okay.
Sophie, right at the very beginning, you did some calculations on wing loading.
Oh, yeah.
Can you remind us what wing loading is?
Yeah. Wing loading is basically like the aspect ratio of the wings.
Right.
So like low wing loading, for example, is like a larger wing to like body size. Like
the area of the wing is bigger?
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically like a super low wing loading would be like a butterfly. Like it has gigantic wings for like a teeny tiny body.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And like higher wing loading, I don't know, like you have lower maneuverability kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. So you had calculated Max's wing loading on the very early in the book on the assumption that she was about average height of 5'4", which we now know is way too short for Max.
Right.
She's 6 feet tall. But we know her wings are 13 feet wide. And you calculated based on that assumed height.
Oh,
and
no.
like the wing loading calculation that her, in addition to being 13 feet in wingspan, her wings would need to be 1.5 meters wide.
Great.
Which is 5 feet.
Great.
5 feet wide, which obviously is not correct. And then we never came back to that calculation. But you compared it to a murre, which is a seabird that is not a very elegant flyer, and also to the extinct giant teratorn, which I guess was a similar size to a human teenager, and could fly, and had a wingspan only slightly larger than Max's. So
wow, that's how I stand by it.
Yeah, I feel like based on the information you had at the time, and even the information we still have, that's like a reasonable guess.
I believe it.
I mean, it's a ridiculous shape, but like this whole premise is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
amazing.
I don't know. Did we ever find out the wing shape? Because we talked in the early chapters about how we didn't know if they would be like specialized for speed or maneuverability or like distance or something, because we don't know the wing shape.
No,
I guess we find out later that Max is very fast.
Yeah. But they don't even describe if they have like pointier wings or like more shaggy wings, you know, like shorter and stockier wings, like nothing like that. So, oh well.
Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah.
Then there was a very brief segment about stretching and how they should stretch before they fly.
Yep. Great.
And we discussed swimming, skydiving in the squirrel suits, and rowing, and like whatever stretches you might need for those, and then also like the classic bird stretch of like one wing and one leg extended at a time.
That would be fun. I hope they
that would be cute. I do too. Okay, balance and wing placement. Once again, we have improbable hexapods.
Yeah.
And we talked a bit about how in this book and in a lot of like portrayals of humans with wings, the wings are like attached to a pivot point at the shoulder.
Yeah.
Which
I just remembered where this is going.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things.
Uh-huh.
And like Max confirms in a couple of places that like the wings are at their shoulders. They're powered by their shoulder muscles. When Max is shot in the shoulder, it also hits her wing, which again like shows that the wings are up there.
Yep.
Where they shouldn't be, because the wings should be at the, like, center of gravity.
Yeah.
So on a human, they should be at, like, the small of your back or at your hips. And then we've had an awful lot of discussion about what pose they fly in, or what pose they have their body in while they're flying.
Yeah.
They're described as looking awkward a couple times. And the 3 positions that we discussed in the early chapters are the horizontal plank superpower pose, just like upright, like they're standing, or my personal favorite, which was the fetal position.
Yeah. We disproved the fetal position later.
Dang
no.
Dang it.
It's the horizontal position because Iggy uses Angel's ankle to help navigate while they're flying.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Which doesn't make any sense. I'm sure we talked about this, but like, literally all you have to do is think about doing a push-up and then trying to lift your legs up in that position.
Yeah.
Like off the ground. Like you can't. A human being can't.
No.
You know?
You have to be so strong.
Abs of steel.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
People can do the sideways, like a flag pole thing, right? Where they're holding onto a pole and they lift their body up sideways, but that's your like side muscles and you're bracing at 2 points. But like a person can't like do a Superman pose by holding onto something at their shoulders, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, could Iggy be able to hold on to Angel's ankle if they're flying in like a vertical standing position and their wings are just like rotated beside them?
Angel might be able to fly horizontally in a Superman pose because like she's so much littler.
That's true.
I don't know.
No, go on.
That's all I have.
I still think the fetal position makes the most sense.
I think it just makes like their legs have to be crunched up somehow, you know?
Yeah. Although
I don't think they're...
What do you think, Sam?
No, I think they're horizontal, and I don't think it makes any sense, but I think they're horizontal because aesthetically that looks better. Like,
yeah.
I genuinely, like, I agree. It doesn't make sense. They'd have to have abs of steel. I mean, maybe they have increased muscle strength there so that they can hold their legs up while flying, but unlikely. I just don't think that much thought was put into it, and it's just like, if you think of it from a TV show, they're not going to have these kids flying around in a fetal position. Like, it's just purely aesthetics. There's no sense or reason behind it. They're horizontal. It's probably impossible, but I'm pretty sure that's what's happening.
Okay, you know what? Actually, this was something this just occurred to me. This is something was gonna bring up later in the body section, but we kind of decide that the Birdkids have fused spines the way birds do because they don't get injured in a car crash. And birds have fused spines, or at least partially fused spines, in order to like just survive flying. They have to have it to have that strong base. And so if the Birdkids had like a fully fused spine all the way down, then they wouldn't have to be using muscles to keep their like hips up, you know?
Yeah, they would just naturally be there.
Okay, I'm coming back around.
I still think they should like tuck their legs up.
Yeah.
Although we do discuss at one point, and I'm jumping ahead a little bit, that they might be using their feet to steer.
Yeah, somehow.
Somehow.
I mean, if they're going fast enough, their feet could be used to steer, I guess.
Yeah. We'll get back to that in a second.
Yeah.
I think you're right, Sam, that in this book, they are flying horizontally.
Mm-hmm.
And because we have to accommodate the primary text, I think that means we have to assume that their spines are fused.
That the spines are fused, and that's what allows them to...
do that.
Yeah, that tracks.
Do you think, Sophie, do bird wings they just attach at the one point? They're not like bats where they like have the skin that kind of goes down the body?
Well, like think about like a chicken wing.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I have seen those before. Yeah.
They have like particularly buff like bicep areas and triceps, but it doesn't like extend very far. Most of the wing is feathers.
I'm just like trying to come up with a way to like shift the center of gravity more, or trying to shift the wings and the center of gravity more together.
Like
somehow. I guess maybe if the wings are heavy because they're like extra limbs and extremely muscled, that probably would shift their center of gravity slightly higher, right?
Yeah.
Top heavy. Although we do talk, again, spoilers for later, they do got mad hops, so they're probably pretty strong in the legs too.
Yeah, this is so much stress on their bodies to hold their whole body weight on the shoulder joint.
Yeah, but they're like preteens and teens, like they're fine.
Like, if we think about it, it probably has to be on the shoulder blade, right? Like,
yeah.
Like, it probably could be, like, it can't be at the exact same attachment point. So it's probably like, we could argue that it's slightly lower, like just behind and down a bit. But, which would be better.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, Max does get an x-ray of like where her wing meets her body, but they don't tell us what it looks like, so it's not actually helpful to us.
Alas.
Yeah.
Because like, so what slightly helps it, again, this puts a lot of strain on small parts of the body, but bird wings, like bird feathers, especially the primary feathers, are attached to the bones. So like their arm bone is
I don't like it.
Attached to the bone part. So their wings
bone is attached to the bone part.
Is that what I said? Okay, sorry.
I think so.
I meant the primary feather is attached to the bone.
Which is the long feather, right?
Yeah, which are the main
tip.
feathers on their wings.
Yeah.
Primary, yeah.
That's gross.
Like they're in like grooves, but they are attached to the bone, which makes them sturdy, right? Like the wing, the idea of the wing is that they overlap with the body along the back, so there isn't like a gap necessarily. Like birds will create, like they'll shift the feathers to make a gap between the wings and the body to like dump speed or height.
Right.
But like normally when they're flapping like down, there's no gap between their body and like the full length of the wing kind of thing. But that doesn't really help with, it doesn't attach anywhere else.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we just have to go with spine fused.
Fused spine, I think, considering that they do fly horizontally, I feel like that's gotta just be the only answer.
Yeah. Okay, let's blast through the rest of the wing stuff.
Yeah. We did talk very briefly about how humans are too heavy. Or no, if a human were to develop the extra muscle that they needed for, like, self-propelled flight, they would be too heavy to be able to fly.
Yeah.
We also talked about how do the bird kids wear backpacks?
Yeah, where do
they have wings there? And also how do they wear windbreakers? And we decided they put the backpacks on the front and they have slits in their windbreakers in their jackets.
Nice.
I'll very quickly go through some of the things we talked about, like how they learned to fly.
Yeah.
We decided they probably weren't taught to fly at the school based on like the way they're treated and like the fact that they're not very good flyers at the beginning of the book.
Yeah.
And then we got really mad about like why did the school even engineer bird kids in the first place if they weren't going to teach them how to fly.
Yeah.
We know they fledge at least before the age of 6 because Angel can fly. And Sophie, you talked about how birds need to learn how to fly. It's not like a wholly instinctive behavior and it needs to be taught by their parents, which is probably part of the reason why these bird kids are such awkward flyers. And also part of the reason why after spending like a one day with these weirdly prosocial ferruginous hawks, Fang and Nudge learn how to be better flyers.
Right.
So they are able to like learn some of that basic technique from actual birds, which again supports the idea that they're like not great flyers just under their own devices.
Right.
There's also the thing of altricial versus patricial bird babies, which are like precocial. Is that the word? Altricial versus precocial.
Precocial, yeah.
Okay. And we decided that the bird kids are precocial because Angel had tiny baby chicken wings. And the precocial ones, they're the like ugly monster babies, and the attricial ones are the really cute little fluffy ones, right?
Other way around.
Because
precocial means capable of moving around on its own as soon as it's hatched.
Right, so they're the cute fluffy ones.
Yeah.
And altricial are incapable of moving around.
Yeah.
So I said it backwards. We decided that Angel was altricial because she had chicken wings as a baby.
Okay.
And not like cute fuzzy feathers.
Oh, horrible to think about.
Yeah.
I don't want to think about it.
Human babies are also naked, to be fair.
Yeah.
Also, Sam is vehemently opposed to the idea that these bird kids might lay eggs, so we weren't allowed to discuss that any further.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, I don't remember that.
You were vehemently against it in one of my episodes, too.
Oh. I feel very indifferent about it right now, so I don't know why.
We've worn you down.
Maybe.
I think I initially brought it up in the context they were having like bacon and eggs for breakfast, and I was like, wait.
Oh, okay, yeah. In that context, I'm very disturbed. Do not. I don't know.
I don't see what the problem is.
No.
I mean, in the lake house, the Max Not Ride has babies through eggs, so...
Oh.
Remember?
I forgot, but yeah, ew.
Wait,
Anyway.
but does Max get a period? No.
Wow,
I don't think we know if they're sexually mature yet or not.
Yeah, but would we... Anyway, nope. Done.
No.
Move on.
This is probably why you didn't want to think about it.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think it would be fun.
If they lay eggs.
It's okay. Let's move on.
Yep.
Okay, so should we just conclude for... Oh no, Fang and Max.
You keep calling characters Sam in like 2 of my episodes.
I keep specifically calling Fang Sam, I think.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
It's
Real life
okay.
Sam.
I'm the quiet emo, always angry one,
Yeah.
so it makes sense.
Yeah, the quiet emo.
Our favorite emo teen.
Yes, up.
Who owns a Barbie university crop top.
I do. It's true.
So emo.
No, I'm imagining Fang in a Barbie crop top.
I am Knuff, says Fang's
I am
shirt.
Knuff.
Want
Yeah.
that sweater.
More, okay.
They have a baby later.
Oh, yeah, they
in
do
the
have a
book, so they
baby.
probably have a human reproductive system.
Yeah.
Now we can move on.
Okay.
Okay, flight mechanics. Let's do that next. Both the Birdkids and the raptors assume they are combined with need to kind of hop to take off.
Oh, yeah.
The Birdkids can also take off from a run, but they don't have to. They are able to take off from a standing leap.
8-foot vertical leap.
8-foot vertical leap. We decided they can fly very high based on like how high Max flies at some point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's a point where they say they're above the clouds, which we determined to be dangerously high.
Yeah.
If they're higher than like anything but the lowest clouds, then they could be like dying because birds don't fly that high.
No, unless they're ducks.
Yeah.
Some ducks apparently can fly very high.
No.
So if they're not raptors, they might be ducks.
Maybe they're duck-eating raptors.
Duck raptors. They fly in formation. They don't describe what the formation is, but we imagine that it was the kind of like V-shaped laminar flow formation where you have like the strongest flyers at the front to break the air, and that they would have like probably the gas man and angel near the back where the air is broken. There was when they're like going to and from Central Park all the time, and also when they're like flying in and out of restaurants in Central Park, they do have to be able to maneuver through some like pretty tight spaces, especially considering the up to 14-foot wingspan.
Yeah.
So we talked a bit about like if they have the ability to maneuver like a goshawk that can like fly through a very small space with like a lot of precision by kind of folding its wings back and going like, do they go feet first?
Head, and they scoot their feet in also at the same time.
Yeah.
The Birdkids just fold themselves into like a pike position, like and then fly through something.
They do a forward fold.
No. Okay, fine.
I think, despite the fact that they can fly in these relatively tight spaces, I think this is probably not realistic.
Yeah, that's fair.
We also talked about whether they can hover like a kestrel.
Yeah.
Didn't really come to a conclusion there either. I don't know. What do you guys think about?
I don't think so.
Probably not. Yeah.
Hawks can't, like, it's hard.
Yeah.
I think whenever it does say they're hovering, but at one point, but I think they're maybe just flying in circles.
Yeah.
They apparently hover when they're in the restaurant, and we talked about how that wasn't possible and that they needed headwinds to do that, and that also only bird that can hover is a hummingbird. So
yeah, because they wouldn't have wind in the restaurant.
Yeah, unless they have really powerful fans for some reason. I mean, there are all those, like, I don't know, when you think about like an angel coming down, it's like standing upright, like flapping in that one way that you think of as like flying in place. And it's like, I don't know about that.
I don't know about it either.
I mean, I guess like if you think about it, like if a bird is like flying up, like straight up, like an airplane will stall because you don't get enough like power in, right? Like you can't get enough laminar flow over the wings without like an engine behind it, sort of thing. Like a glider will stall if it tries to go straight up instead of just coasting. So like maybe since their wings are, if they're like quote unquote standing upright, like if they're vertical, then their wings are also vertical. And so they're like power facing down, you know, like they're creating a downward force. So I guess they could hover like that. Are we
assuming that they can like rotate their wings that way though? Because if they fly horizontally, then the wings would mostly be on like the perpendicular plane to that, right? So if they're like standing upright, then their wings would be,
I mean, like a bird
moving forward to back. Can they?
Like a bird, like they'll still just be flapping, but they'll be orienting their body upwards, you know, rather than forward.
Okay.
Maybe.
This seems a little suspicious.
I'm going to say a hard maybe. Okay, what's the next thing?
Hard maybe. Next thing is steering, because birds steer with a tail. We debated that they use their big feet to steer, or that they might steer with their arms like a fish would steer with its like fins. Or like how I steer with my arms when I'm diving when Sam's not looking.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
I only do it when you're not looking.
Oh, God.
How would you know? I'm going to go with feet. I've decided. At this point, it's ruthless decision-making time.
Yeah.
I'm deciding feet.
I kind of like arms, to be honest.
I don't know how they would do that. Like, how do you do arms? You like water is very different.
That's true.
Like water's a lot of a thicker medium.
I like can't imagine being able to do it with your feet.
If you're moving at speed.
Maybe they just like shift their weight.
Yeah.
With their hips. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going with feet.
All right. Sam?
Feet.
Okay. Feet. Locked in. They steer with their feet.
Decided.
Also using their feet, we talked about like how do they land on a tree? And because they're wearing shoes, the conclusion was that they just like hit the tree and grab on with their arms.
That sounds right.
We also discussed barefoot toe shoes, crampons, and golf cleats.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to put this in their arms or body, but we also debated that when they're asleep, like a perching bird, their arms automatically like grab onto a tree branch.
I forgot about that. That's
so
a good
I think
one.
Also that.
Yeah. So their default is to grab. I bet they all have like a stuffed animal or a pillow that they snuggle with that Max didn't tell us about because she was embarrassed.
Yeah.
And the last thing I have to say about flying is that we were able to calculate that they have a sustainable flight speed, or at least for 2 hours of flight, that they can fly up to 177 kilometers per hour with a tailwind.
Wow.
Which is, 177 kph for a birdkid. As a reminder, vampires had a maximum speed of 241 kph and dragons of 39 kph. So
I have a counterpoint.
Okay.
Which is that we have been doing one character, sort of the main
That's true.
biology character. And so since Max can go up to a speed of like 400 kilometers per hour with her supersonic speed, I think that's the one we should go with.
Yeah, she can go up to, Okay, so maximum of about 400.
Max's maximum speed. Maximum rise, maximum speed.
God damn it.
It's like 420. Nice. Wait.
Nice.
420 kilometers per hour.
Yeah, what we calculated at the beginning of this book was their like sustained travel speed. So it makes sense that it is much less.
Yeah. Great.
Cool.
Like Saphira is not even in the running at 39 kilometers an hour.
She's not even
close
in the race. She's still in California.
Still way back there. Let's move on to the next category, which maybe we don't really have anything for. Anything for arms.
I have no arms.
You have no arms. The only wings.
No.
Yeah. The only thing I kind of have for arms is that Fang can carry Max while flying.
That's more of like a wing weight capacity thing,
I guess that could have gone into flying. And we didn't really have anything else to say about it. Just that that's a fact. That's the most that they can carry is one other bird kid, which doesn't really make sense.
No.
Since birds usually can't even carry half their body weight. So, but I guess the bird kids somehow have human carrying capacity, even though it should be on the wing capacity.
I don't get it.
Yep. But that's fine. We don't have to understand it. We just have to know it, I guess. Know that it's true. Fang's been getting those sick gains. All right, well, let's move to the next category, which is just general... Oh, no, let's do legs first.
They can hop really good, so they must be strong. But that's kind of it.
Great.
At one point, we had a theory that they had skinny legs, I think because of the hollow bone theory.
Yeah, they had bird legs.
Yeah, but that was disproven because of their jumps, and that they would have to have pretty strong legs to jump as high as they have to start flying, which again comes up in the restaurant escape episode. So they don't have skinny legs. They got some powerful, thick thighs.
Beefy thighs.
Yeah. Beefy.
No, at one point we theorized they had pockets for their legs.
Even worse.
Yuck.
That was disproven by the ankle theory that was previously mentioned. But we did at one point, the topic of pockets for legs was brought up. The discussion was had.
See, is not like a fetal position
better
leg pockets so much better?
No.
I was just thinking their straight leg just sloops right into their body up either side.
Their hips are actually
they dislocate their hips and then sloop their legs all the way up inside. No, I hate that. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if they steer using their feet, they gotta have the legs out.
All right. Well, fine, I guess. No leg pockets. Let's talk about general body stuff, I guess. I have a couple things, which, based on what you put into flying, I now realize I probably could have put these into flying, but whatever. Okay, my body things are that they probably have fused spines, which we've talked about. Another body thing is that we were trying to figure out if they have preen glands for oiling their feathers.
Ew.
Because they have to preen well, okay, because birds that don't have preen glands have to have dust baths to clean their feathers because they're not waterproof. They can't go in the water. But the birdkids specifically have showers at one point. So we decided that they just have very active oil glands.
Oh, that's gross. We're gross.
So they probably have acne and also waterproof feathers. Which is important.
Where did we decide the preen glands were?
I think we were just like, maybe they're on their faces because that's where humans produce the most oil.
And they just rub their wings on their faces.
Yeah, you know how it is, like a cat.
Yeah. Like how a cat rubs its wings on its face. Yeah.
And then I think we maybe talked about this later also, but I put this under body, but we decided that they probably can't scuba dive after flying. Or like before flying, I mean, So because they can fly, they can't scuba dive because there is it's recommended that you don't go too high up in altitude after scuba diving because you'll get the bends.
When they have all those air pockets.
Yeah. And then, of course, the most important thing I want to talk about in body is if they have feathers all over their body instead of hair.
Okay, thanks for listening to this episode of Midlife Crisis.
No, I'm gonna remake my pitch because you both were halfway convinced when I actually made the pitch.
Okay.
And the pitch is just that humans don't have beta keratin, which is how feathers are made. Humans only have alpha keratin, and for some reason, no organism has both alpha and beta keratins being produced, and we, without really knowing how this works, we were like, well, because how would they know where to express each different kind of keratin? It's confusing. And there are birds, like kiwi birds and hawks, have a type of feather called the bristle feather, which is literally just like a whisker. And so I'm pitching that they have bristle feathers as hair all over their body.
Can you cut bristle feathers? Because they all get haircuts.
Yeah.
Would it react like hair if you got a haircut, but your hair was bristle feathers?
Yeah, you would molt it and then a new one would grow.
No.
Do you think a hairstylist notice that your hair was made of bristle feathers?
They might notice that if you like got cold while you were sitting in the chair, all of your hair stood up the way like a feather would fluff out.
I mean, like arm hair does that.
Yeah.
So, do they have all
okay,
of
so
the
you're
hair?
all I'm feeling like you're all not convinced.
I'm not.
I'm not convinced.
Okay.
I'm still team hair.
Fine. Okay.
Yeah. Maybe their feathers are made of hair keratin.
No.
Did we think of that?
No.
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 Okay.
I think you know what? Whatever science they did, they expressed the correct type of keratin in the correct spot somehow. They produce both.
Yeah.
And that's just what we're gonna have to go with.
They produce multiple types of keratin.
Yeah.
Because of their multiple connected genomes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, those are all my body things.
Okay, I had some of the very more general ones, which are that all of the birdkids are particularly tall and thin for their ages. They are below average weight but above average height.
Yep.
They're much stronger and faster than regular humans, and they can heal quickly from being knocked out and other injuries. Also, Max has body dysmorphia because she talks about how bird puberty was terrible.
Oh, yeah.
The healing thing, Sophie, you were saying that birds just seem to heal pretty quickly in general if they have the, I guess, space to do so. Since you also said most of the time if a bird gets injured, it just dies because they can't feed themselves. The stronger and faster and also the below average weight, we attributed it. Attributed to having hollow bones like a bird.
Yeah.
Which birds have air sacs in their bones that are connected to the respiratory system. And despite what Sam and I thought, having hollow bones with that kind of honeycomb-y structure is actually more structurally sound than a human bone, which is probably part of what gives the birdkids their above average strength. They have to be able to take a lot more strain than a human bone does, which is probably why they can get beat up by the eraser so often and not break every bone in their body so often.
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm struggling. And yeah, the bones are thin, the muscles are thick, the lungs are big.
Great.
But yeah, hollow bones.
Full of air sacs.
Amazing.
Sam, did you have any general body stuff?
The only thing was to continue off your scuba diving point, because we later go and have almost an entire episode trying to justify how they could scuba dive.
Uh-huh.
So there wasn't really a general conclusion. It was a lot of just theorizing what would happen and how it would happen.
Yep.
I've thought about it probably more than I should have, and I just genuinely don't think that they can breathe compressed air at depth.
Yeah.
I don't think the reason they can't scuba dive is the altitude issue. Obviously, you don't dive within 18 hours of being at altitude, so they can just not fly for 18 hours and they could realistically do it. That's not the limiting factor. The limiting factor is their really weird physiology, and I don't know enough about the mechanics of their breathing and the effects of compressed. There's not enough information to determine.
Fair.
I mean, they could. There's nothing stopping them from doing it, but would they get the bends right away?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
they might have different time at bottom. They might have different I don't know, descent and ascent things, right? Someone would just have to figure it out.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, and so like I said, they could probably do it. The mechanics behind it, the physiology, everything would take a lot of research to figure out exactly what.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we did talk in depth about that. I guess mostly me, but yeah.
At depth, in depth, all of the things.
You're the expert for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in your expert opinion, it's probably not a good idea for them to try to scuba dive.
If you're a bird kid out there listening,
all of the extra air spaces just
make
me nervous.
Seems dangerous.
Places for air to get trapped.
Yeah, and just they would have to ascend so slowly. like so slowly.
But I bet they'd be great at free diving.
Well, and we talked about this too, because so free diving isn't an issue because the breath you take at the surface as you go down will compress in your body. And then when you come up, it'll just uncompress. Wow, I'm losing all of my words. Expand.
Compress?
No, expand as you go back up, and you're back at your normal volume. So like the volume you start with is the same volume you end with. Whereas if you're breathing compressed air, you take a big breath at the bottom. If you come up with that and hold your breath, your lungs will pop because that air will expand. So anyways, birds can, like, free diving is no issue. And obviously it's in nature itself with marine and aquatic birds. Like, they're diving all the time. There's nothing cuter than seeing a little puffin dive underneath you while you're snorkeling.
So cute.
It's a lot of fun.
Aww.
So yeah, free diving, not an issue. I mean, obviously, I think we found out most of them can end up breathing water in the end anyways, so this doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
So I don't actually, now that I've just said that, I don't realize why we're spending so much time on it now, because they could all breathe water anyways, so it doesn't matter.
We didn't know it until then, though.
No, I know, but I was just like, right now, I could have just skipped all of this because it doesn't matter.
No, but it was an interesting discussion.
Yeah, and I think like one of them doesn't end up breathing water, like somehow several of them
I think
do.
Iggy and the Gasman don't breathe underwater.
They don't have to do anything. They barely exist as characters.
We don't know what they look like.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
All right, that was sort of getting into respiration, so should we just continue on with our respiration as our next category?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All I have is that they have bigger lungs than humans. That's it.
That's fair. And air sacs, I guess.
And air sacs in their bones, we decided.
Yeah.
Sophie, do you want to do like a very quick how bird respiratory system works recap?
Oh, yeah. So because birds have like lungs and then air sacs, they have to take more than one breath for every exhale kind of thing. So basically the air, like on the first inhale, well, it's more like, I guess a single breath of air, for example, the bird will breathe in and the air moves into the air sacs. And then on the exhale, that air moves into the lungs. And then on the next inhale, the air moves into the next set of air sacs. And then on the next exhale, it finally leaves. So,
yeah, right.
Yeah, so inhale into the air sacs, exhale into the lungs, inhale again into a different set of air sacs, and then exhale out. So it moves through a couple places in the body, like in stages. Yeah.
That's so wild.
Yep. That's probably what they have. Because we kind of determined that they have to have air sacs in order to be able to fly. Like they have to have lessened the weight on their body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like we were pretty solid on the theory that they have more bird-like bones than they do human bones.
Yeah.
And therefore probably the respiratory system to go with it.
Yep.
Which does connect to the circulatory system.
Yeah, I have one circulation thing, which doesn't, the only thing I have for circulation is what I alluded to in the hearing section, which is at one point when Ari is chasing that asshole dude away in a car.
Ari being
one
of the erasers, in case anyone forgot.
From the asshole dude from which they stole a debit card.
Oh, yeah.
Max says that her heart was racing at 200 beats a minute.
I forgot.
And she could hear the cars disappearing. Like 1.5 seconds later, she couldn't hear the cars anymore. And so for the heart rate, we determined that that's actually normal for humans, and birds have a very high heart rate compared to humans. So teen heart rates are apparently around 160 BPM, and in kids it can be up to 200 BPM. Like as you get smaller, the heart rate goes faster. And so that heart rate is actually like on the low end for a bird, but like slightly above a teen heart rate. So fine. That's fine. But because humans can hear a car 2 miles away, we determined that either the car was going 3,839 kilometers per hour, or Max is exaggerating, or they have bad hearing.
Oh my god.
So
she's probably exaggerating.
Take your pick. She's probably exaggerating. But she did say her heart rate, so that's what I have for circulation. And that's all I have. What about you guys?
Nothing.
I have a few things. I have the Birdkids have blood confirmed.
Great.
Which was literally something we said in the episode. And they probably have a higher blood volume than humans because the wings would require a lot of blood flow.
Oh, yeah.
They also say that like their hearts are a little bit bigger and more efficient than a human heart. An enlarged heart is usually bad in humans, but we decided it was probably okay for a birdkid because they have those extra limbs that require circulation. And then about like the blood itself, Angel had to do like a glucose test at one point, and we were wondering what the baseline levels of that are because birds have pretty high blood sugar in general, particularly when they're stressed, and therefore humans or birdkids probably also have a relatively high blood glucose, especially when they're stressed, which Angel was because she was in captivity doing a stress test. And then when Max gets shot, this is only blood adjacent, but there was blood there because she was shot.
Yeah.
Dr. Martinez asks if she needs a tetanus shot or if she's had a tetanus shot, and birds can get tetanus and so can humans. So Max probably does need a tetanus shot.
She probably does.
Which I put in this section because I think that can go in your blood.
Yeah, but they can't get COVID, as Fang said, so maybe they can't get tetanus either.
So maybe they can birds get COVID?
I don't know.
I don't think the birds could get COVID. Cats could get COVID.
The bird kids can get avian flu.
The bird kids can get avian flu and human flu.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
That's too bad. Great. Shall we do genetics?
Yeah. I'll start this one.
Okay.
Since I have like the early chapters.
Yeah.
Because like in all of the chapters that I re-listened to, we were operating on the assumption that the birdkids were modified after birth.
Right.
Because they thought that they might have like human parents.
They do have human parents.
Sorry, yeah. Yeah, we thought that they were born naturally and then experimented on.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about gene therapy and plasmids as vectors to introduce foreign DNA into the genome of another animal.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that interesting to like go into the details, particularly because none of us really know.
And because they are proven to be wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because we do find out for sure that they're made from before birth.
It does seem like it,
in
right?
utero,
Based on, yeah. Yeah. We did talk about how you can do a DNA transfer to graft plants, and also that they might be partially nematode or salamander.
Great.
Because nematodes are able to just eat DNA and incorporate it into their body.
Wow.
Which, again, is not borne out by the text, but was a fun idea.
It was a fun idea.
A whole thing where we talked about how these birdkids are GMO.
They are GMO. Great. I don't know. We talked a lot about how basically, like, we're not even close to this kind of genetic technology now. Like, there's nothing even close to this. But they mention that this was done using amniocentesis, which is not
what the heck
possible because that's just like a genetic test done in the third trimester. And we determined that amniocentesis, quote unquote, could work if it was done early and if they did like blastocyst recombination, where basically like they inject a bird kid blastocyst into a woman who was pregnant and killed the blastocyst of the her kid and then a bird kid instead.
Okay, but we also I think from like the wiki and stuff we find out that some of the bird and I think even in the end of this book we find out that some of them like look like their parents.
Yeah.
So it seems like they're genetically related to their human parents.
Like we were saying that like maybe they were doing free healthcare for people, and maybe they would have gotten the embryo from the mom and then turned it bird kid and then put it back into the mom, and it was terrible.
Ew.
But we don't really, honestly, like it doesn't make sense, the addition of amniocentesis, honestly. But that was basically all of the genetics in mine.
So we did decide that they are genetic, like recombinant I guess, creatures that were created at an embryonic stage and that they were not changed post-birth, which is what we thought earlier in the book.
Yeah. Yeah, what about you, Sam? Any genetics stuff?
No, I don't have anything for genetics.
Cool. Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, because by that point, they were just hanging out in Central Park, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Doing nothing.
Okay, so it turns out we have way more to talk about than we thought we did, because we haven't even gone into the superpowers, we haven't even gone into erasers. So just for everyone's sanity, ours and the listeners, we are actually going to split this into 2 different episodes. So I'm sorry if you came here just for the superpowers. We've accidentally left like 8 cliffhangers. Something about water breathing. Who even knows what's going to happen? I guess tune in next time for that.
Can I just say,
yeah,
I think it's hilarious that for a book that we had such a hard time sciencing and did not enjoy talking about, apparently we have a lot of science to talk about at the end of it.
The problem is that this one is like quote unquote reality. You know? And so we had to like talk about real science more instead of just being like, it's magic.
It's magic. Yeah.
It's magic.
Honestly, the genetics is
it's destroying
more
me.
magic than actual magic, I think, to me. It makes less sense.
And they put 2 creatures in it. They put erasers and birdkids. So that's what it is.
I think it was also a case of just like heavy concentration of stuff in certain and then none.
Yeah.
Like I had like 2 episodes where we had a little bit, and then I had like 4 in a row where like there's nothing, right?
Yeah.
And then I had like 1 where it was like the underwater breathing. Anyways, the book was not consistent in what it was giving us. So for like a while there, we had like 5-6 episodes in a row where there really wasn't anything, which was like, oh, there's not a lot going on. We're not gonna have anything to talk about. But in reality, when we did have stuff to talk about, there was a lot of it. I think we just missed that. So
yeah.
Oops.
And unfortunately, you 2 walnuts decided to do a podcast about a book about bird kids with someone who likes birds. So that's on you, honestly.
It's true.
We're gonna find a whale book next time.
Yeah, for sure. All those whale
you know, all the whale books.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, we're splitting this into 2. So here's the ending of this episode for now. Tune in next time for part 2.
Should we like talk about what books we're reading or?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Okay, let's talk about what books we're reading. I'm all over the place. That's a great point. Okay, I've read a bunch of books, but I'm reading another Mercedes Lackey series, the Elemental Masters series, so that's good.
Oh.
I think I've read 2 of on my top 10 for the year books, which are Someone You Can Build a Nest In by John Wiswell, which is a monster and monster hunter love story from the POV of the monster.
That sounds so fun.
Good. It's so wholesome somehow, and also kind of scary. And then I also read Funny Story by Emily Henry, which is now one of my favorite books of all time. Like, it was so good. It was so good. Sam is right. Emily Henry's amazing.
I knew it.
Yeah. And then Hannah was... Sorry, I read a lot of books. Hannah was also right because I really liked Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt, which I read, and it made me cry.
The way you were talking about it to me...
I almost didn't like it.
I thought you did not like it.
I liked it at the end. It took about 2/3 of the book for me to like it, and it took a really long time to get to 2/3. It's a long book.
It is a long book. It's worth it, though, I think.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah. So those are the books I have read. I haven't picked up anything new because I finished... Oh, I also read The Sixth Extinction, which is a very good nonfiction book, but I just finished that, so I haven't picked up anything new after that. But yeah, some great books that I've read recently. What about you guys?
I don't remember, even though I'm editing the episode before this, I don't remember what I said in it, and I don't remember what it was. So anyways... I read Bride, if I never mentioned that. Like Sophie said, I'm not going to talk about it. Then I also listened to 2 audiobook romances, The Singles Table by Sarah Dessy and Set on You by Amy Lee, which were both a lot of fun. And then I decided to start reading Heavenbreaker by Sarah Wolf, which is the latest in the Red Tower Sprayed Edge releases, which is fun. And also reading Queen Charlotte by Julia Quinn, which is a Bridgerton book, because I'm waiting for part 2 of season 3 to release, and it's filling the void. And then I'm still reading a few other things that I'm not going to mention because I've been reading them for like 2 months and it's embarrassing at this point. So that's it.
Fair.
Yeah. I listened to mostly a bunch of things since last time, including 2 Emily Henrys, but not the one Sophie read. I read People We Meet on Vacation and Happy Place, which were pretty good, but they both made me just feel like really bad about myself, so I think I need to break from her for a bit.
Oh no.
I was like, dang, I fucking suck.
That's not how they're supposed to make you feel.
I also listened to That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Human by Kimberly Lemming, which is the exact same as her other 2 books, but like it's kind of a fun time. And The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy, which is similar to the Emily Henry things, except it doesn't make me feel bad about myself. I think because
you like miscommunication.
There was even too much of that. No, I think it's because it's fantasy. So it's like, well, I can't relate to my mentor being killed by a zombie and then being like a sad demigod. So it doesn't hurt my feelings as much.
Sure, yeah.
I also read The Fake Dating Game, which was terrible and no one should read it.
Good to know.
And then, it was awful. I was so upset. Okay. And currently I'm listening to 2 books and reading 1. I'm listening to Otherworldly by F.T. Lukens, which is all the same as F.T. Lukens' other books. It's a YA romantasy. Also listening to Surviving to Drive by Gunther Steiner, which is a Formula 1 memoir read by Gunther Steiner, who has like the thickest like Austrian, German, Italian accent you've ever heard. So I have to listen to that audiobook real slow. And then, like Sam, I'm also reading a Red Tower Books Sprayed Edge release. I'm reading The 5 Broken Blades by Mai Corland. And it feels like weirdly illegal to read a book with like printed edges.
Yeah, see, I got the audiobook from the library because I didn't know whether this one was going to be worth it or not. And I have the 5 Broken Blades I got the pre-order anyways. I have that physical copy. So kudos to you for reading that one quicker, because I'm going to read this other one for that because it's an audiobook and I haven't read a physical book in 2 months. So doing great.
Yeah, I'm struggling. I'm struggling with my physical TBR too. I figured like if I get a new book, I should read that one first because there was a reason that I bought it. That's kind of what I'm trying to work on at the moment.
I also just want to stay in the know of what's like popular and why it's popular, and I need to know, and I want to be up on all of it, and I cannot keep up anyways. I'm fine. Good job to you. I wish I was reading it.
I mean, it hasn't been holding my attention. I've been reading it for like a week and I'm like 50 pages in.
Oh, okay, that's not promising.
I think I'm in a bit of a slump.
Welcome.
Right now, my brain wishes that I was just a lichen and I could live on a tree and someone could bring the nutrients to me.
Yeah.
Anyway. Anyway, this episode's coming out in June. And in June, we are reading The Book Eaters by Sun Yee for our Midlight Book Club, which I have been wanting to read for months. So if I'm in a slump, maybe that'll help me get out of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you liked this chapter of Midlight Crisis and support our decision to break it up into 2.
You don't get a choice. We're doing it anyway.
Yeah, and also if you hate the decision and want to let us know.
Either way.
Either way, if you have opinions, rate and review us on Spotify or your podcatcher of choice. You can talk to us and find fun-related content on social media. We are at Midlight Pod on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Tumblr, and Blue Sky. And all chapters of the show thus far are available on our website, midlightpod.podbean.com, and on YouTube.
And stay tuned for part 2.
Woo!
I didn't have an outro.
No, that was good.
And that's it. There's no out. We didn't prepare for having to split it into 2 parts, so we don't have an outro. Ta-da!